Hi there, and welcome to our Facebook Live. Steve Arterburn here with New Life. We've been going through 10 ways to overcome worry and fears, and I'm on number 4 today. Also, want to give you a little devotional thought out of the devotional that comes from um, Healing is a Choice. But I want to start with a question that came in over Facebook, and somebody asked the question, how do you know that you're making the right choices? All right, well, it's a great question because essentially, here's what Romans 12:2 says. It says, don't copy what everybody else is doing or thinking in the world. Don't be like that. Instead, it says, transform your life by changing the way that you think. And it says, then you will know God's will for you, that perfect will, that the right way to go. So, what is it that gets us to the place of making the right choices that keeps us on the path where we're in God's will? Well, first, reject all this stuff out there that isn't based in truth. And then, secondly, change the way you're thinking and start to think the way God thinks. And that leads us to um, what do I need to do? Well, what's the next right thing to do? On a radio program, we talked with a woman who was having an affair with a pastor who was a married man, and she didn't know if it was okay to break up with him because he was having some health problems. Well, there's just no question. That's not even a consideration. The right thing is to break up. And then the question was, well, I didn't want in the midst of his health problems to mess things up, so I didn't know if I should tell his wife or the senior pastor. No, 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 wait, hold it. Don't rationalize. Don't get confused because the right thing is to do the right thing. You're with a married man. That's the headline. Okay, so if we don't know if the next right thing is the right thing to do because we might be codependent or whatever, then we go get some help. We listen to the counsel of somebody else who's got their head screwed on straight. And, maybe it's a counselor, a pastor, whatever, but we do whatever we can. And when we're confused, we get help. I got to tell you, I listen to people all the time. And I have to turn back from some ways I was thinking. I have to ask for some redos. And to me, if I'm open to other folks and I'm aware of their brilliance, and I don't think I know everything, I got a pretty good chance of making some good decisions. Hope that's helpful. If you have a question, you could ask it on stevesocial.newlife.com. That is also the place where you could tune in and you could go there, stevesocial@newlife.com, and you could ask for a free Bible. It's the Restoration Bible, and it's really great for people in times like these. It'll help you get back whatever you've lost. It's about restoration. So if you need some restoration, here's a study Bible, a devotional Bible that will really help you in some really, really tough times. Well, what's number 4 in our overcoming the fears and the anxieties that can grip us during these really tough times? Well, the fourth one is connection, and it's connection with other people. Now, it's so ironic that in this time when we're being asked to socially distance ourselves from people, and people are even trying to socially distance their cars and stuff, that while we need to practice that, now more than ever in stressful times, we need to be connected for other people. It's connection that allows us to be stable and healthy physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so we need to do everything we can to stay connected and not use this as a big old excuse to stay isolated. One of the biggest disconnectors is this thing called shame. And Satan absolutely loves for us to live in shame. There are two things I think that Satan does. God wants us to worship God. Satan doesn't want us to worship Satan. Satan wants us to worship ourselves. And so he will get us into all sorts of things that make ourselves feel good, instant quick fixes and things like that. And then the other thing he'll do, just the opposite, he'll make us feel unworthy of self-worship. And so we'll be unworthy of God's love, unworthy of self-worship, unworthy of other people. So Satan really wants us living in the shame that Jesus died on the cross to save us from. Galatians 5:13 says this, "For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love." So we got to ask ourselves, if we are free to serve one another, well, how are we going to do that? And what we have to ask is, how could I today show love for another person? And when I do that, now I'm thinking about other people. And I'm getting out of myself, and I'm getting out of my fears and my suffering, and I'm getting into the lives of other folks, and I may be inspired, and I may feel really good when so much gratitude is thrown my way. So if you're struggling with connecting, let's say you have a phone, it's about this big, but it's about 400 pounds whenever you need to pick it up and connect with somebody else. Well, do it anyway. Just do it. Just try it. Take a risk and see if it doesn't end up with a great, great result. Not just in their life because you reached out, but in your own life. Here's some verses. Romans 12:5 says that we are all in belonging to each other. We belong to each other. So we need to be connected. Romans 12:15 says that we need to weep with one another. There's some folks really having some rough times right now. And just to call and say, "How you doing?" And then they tell us and just say, "Man, that's rough." And to be with them in their sadness can be such a great thing versus thinking I got to come up with some kind of scripture or some kind of quick fix answer. Romans 14 tells us to teach each other. And so we can do that. Maybe you've got some wisdom that you've learned from somewhere and somebody else needs that. Well, use it. Teach them. And 1 Corinthians 12:25 tells us to care for each other. And 1 Thessalonians 5:11, it tells us to encourage each other and build each other up. So all of these ways of being together and connected are ways to get us out of ourselves and into other people. But I'll tell you, it's the most wonderful way to care for yourself when you're starting to care for others. You have to have boundaries. Don't want to overdo it. But I'll tell you, there's probably a list of people you've never called, a list of people that you could have called. Maybe there needs to be a start of a list. People that would just love to have you check in with them. Maybe they need it, maybe they don't. Maybe there's some people you need to do some repair work with. So just do it and be creative. Use technology, iPads, FaceTime, whatever it is, Skype meetings, Zoom. Get with other people, eyeball to eyeball, even if it's over the internet. You're not in their presence, but boy, seeing that face can make all the difference in the world. We're all in this together, and we may not like where we are, but when we reach out to others and we connect, whatever situation we're going through, it makes it better, not worse. It's uncomfortable, but it's discomfort that leads us to a better place within ourselves and in our relationship with God. So today's way of overcoming the fears is in the midst of the fear, you reach out and you help some other people. Well, I said I was going to give you a little devotional from Healing is a Choice. The first choice that I listed in Healing is a Choice was the choice to connect. And here's a little devotional thought from the devotional that came along with Healing is a Choice. If you're like me, you'd rather make it on your own. I was afraid of rejection, and I just wanted to be left alone to grieve and whine and do whatever else I wanted to do. But the faithful efforts of others kept dragging me out of the darkness and into the light of face-to-face time with other believers. Other people did that for me. There was a Sunday night meeting, Couples and Steve. And so they'd have me over and just let me be me, go through my ranting or grieving or whatever till I reached a healing point. The uncomfortable connection with others became the healing connection for me, and it will be the same for you. You might have some pretty good excuses to not connect with other people, but God has some pretty good reasons that will overpower your excuses if you'll let them. You cannot read what God has to say about connecting with each other and be convinced that He wants us to face our pain with just Him and Him alone. It's not there in the Bible. The choice to connect is the first healing choice because God needs people in your life to bring about the benefits of other choices. The other choices do no good for the hermit. You need others. And the alienation you experience in your pain blocks others off from you. So you must take a step away from your comfortable surroundings, allow others to minister to you and mature you, no matter how difficult it is. So, what a humble thing it would be for you to call somebody and say, you know what, I am stuck. I feel alone. I feel isolated. I don't know what to do. I'm not handling this well. Could you call me in a couple of days and check in? Or would you mind me calling you on a regular basis? This is a great excuse to ask somebody for help because a lot of people are in trouble during this time. And when I say trouble, they're just emotionally stressed and strained. And, like I've said in other broadcasts, and somebody comes along and says, well, we're not supposed to have the spirit of fear. No, we're not. But this is scary stuff. And if you've got some scary stuff going on because of some really scary stuff that happened in your past, then I want to encourage you. Don't wait another minute. Reach out and get some help. Now, let me remind you as we close out today, and I hope you have a really good weekend, Restoration Bible is a free Bible to you. It'll help you. It's a study Bible, a devotional Bible. We call them specialty Bibles, and it's free. You go to Steve's Social at newlife.com. Second thing, if you need any kind of help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and then I hope you will join us on New Life Live on the broadcast, either by going to the New Life app, go to newlife.com, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, channel 131 at 10 a.m. California time. That's where we will be. But at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, there's somebody there that cares about you, wants to help you, and can help you get through. So for this weekend, I'm just going to encourage you, reach out, go, meet the need of somebody else who's in trouble. You will not regret it. Till next time, thanks for being with me here. See you. Bye-bye.